Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you guys to this interview. We have a special guest coming from Austin, Texas, Coach Pauly C. What's going on, my brother?
What is up, Joel? Thank you for having me, man. Super grateful to be here with you and have a conversation and just share, see where we go.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited to have you on. And we were talking a little bit before off air. We were kind of rolling, so if we would get the camera on. Just to give everybody a little bit of perspective and give a little bit everybody an idea about who you are,
Yeah.
where you come from, and how long have you been a realtor for?
Yep. So I hail from the great Empire State of New York, and proudly so. I'm so grateful to have grown up in New York. Definitely gave me a unique perspective. Originally, I'm from upstate New York, though, the Niagara Falls area, Rochester, New York. Went to school down in Albany, lived in New York City, and then transferred out to UNLV, where I was for 18 years. Met my gorgeous wife and had started a family there and stayed there. And then got recruited to come here to Austin in 2016, where I've been since. So I started real estate in 2008 when the full-time, when it was the perfect year to start real estate because the market was crashing. And I had to, it was a fight or flight. I mean, you had to like stay there and fight and survive. And I did. So my first year I did 14 transactions. Then I was 14.
In New York?
No, this is in Vegas.
Vegas, okay.
So I'm in the epicenter of the housing crisis, 2008, and it's my first year full time. I had been making $100,000 waiting tables in Las Vegas, super gourmet restaurants, VIP host. And it was a great life, had a lot of fun, met a lot of celebrities and famous people and all kinds of stories. But there came a point where that lifestyle I was ready to be done with. And I went into real estate, and it was January 2008. So we were right at the cusp of the housing market collapsing. And for those of people who were around in the real estate industry at that time, Las Vegas was one of those sunshine states that caught the brunt of the worst of the housing crisis. So, the market was just literally careening downwards, month after month after month. And we took a beating, but first year, 14 transactions, and then 26, and then 32, and then 52, and then 129 transactions my fourth year. And I was like the short sale king. Like I was just doing short sales like left and right.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So that led me to understanding that my passion was to coach and train. And so I got into coaching and training at a pretty high level. I created 2 coaching platforms for 2 major brokerages, national brokerages, and had a very successful team. And then decided that I needed to get out of Las Vegas. And I was recruited to come here to Austin, Texas, where I led a brokerage for 4 years. And then 2 years ago, I stepped down and decided to go back into business for myself. And so here I am back in the middle of, I stepped down from leadership in the middle of the pandemic. So I started in a housing crisis, was rebirthed in a pandemic. And so I am Teflon.
That's crazy, man. That's a good story.
Yeah.
You said you've been in Austin for how many years now?
6 years.
6 years, okay. And then you
Yep.
recently stepped down from leadership position, and now you're on your own. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. So my first 6 months back in the business. Now keep in mind, I was recruited to be a leader here. So my job was recruiting. And so the only sphere of influence I really had was agents, people who were in the industry. So when I stepped down, I was in a new city still. I mean, I'm still 4 years in, but it's a relative new city. I didn't move here with any friends or family. I didn't know anyone. And so when I stepped down, I was stepping down from leadership recruiting, and I was basically starting from scratch, zero, back over again. My first 6 months, I did 15 transactions. And then the first full year, I did 15 million. And then this year, my second, 2022 was my second full year back. We closed closer to 20 million.
Sure. Okay. So your first full year, 15 million, that's extremely impressive. What, like, how did you go about that? What was your strategy? Were you just, I know you're known as a cold calling king, the expired king. Was that still kind of, your main focus in Austin?
Yeah, it was. Now, expireds, obviously, when the market was searing hot, there was a lot less expireds, but there was still withdrawns. And so we were going back, I was going back on withdrawns and old withdrawns, and I was doing that quite a bit as far as finding a way to get business quicker. Believe it or not, too, for sale by owners was a great source of business when the market was hot, because you could realistically say to somebody, hey, if I could get more for your property, even after the commissions with the property listed, would you at least consider the conversation? And of course, they'd say yes. And so when you're able to get $50,000, $100,000, I sold a property once for $325,000 over the asking price. Obviously, that was the circumstances of the market. Then for sale by owners were listening. And I was taking for sale by owner listings during the, when the market was super hot at a pretty high level. So
Okay. So do you think you were doing more for sale by owners than expires or cancels or withdrawns, or what was like the ratio with that, compared to like
yeah,
prospecting or?
yeah, it was like 35% expired withdrawns, maybe 10% for sale by owners, 10 to 15% for sale by owners, and then the rest, a small handful of referrals, because I was working my database of agents that I knew around the country, having worked in Las Vegas for a long period of time and having been in several coaching organizations. So my network was pretty strong nationally, and I really struck that up quickly. But also, I'll tell you a hidden, not a hidden, but a less utilized piece of business is non-owner occupieds, absentee homeowners. And I love that. That group really catapulted me in Las Vegas. When the short sales simmered down, I did those at a pretty high level because they're investors, right? So you're calling sellers who are playing the game. And while the market being super hot when I stepped down still in 2021 and 2022, it's just recently simmering down. It was still a good market, because now actually this market here is actually an even better market for non-owner occupieds and absentee homeowners, because they're starting to look around. They're starting to look around, going, maybe I should sell. What should I do? Should I liquidate a property to have some more liquidity? And so that's a great group right now for business resource.
I agree 100%. Especially in my market's big, hot vacation area. A lot of, people have secondary homes, short-term rentals, even, long-term rentals. So yeah, absentee owners for me has also been a pretty big part of my business. And, as we roll into 2023, that's still full steam ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's, let's get a little tactical now for the people who, might be a little bit new. What is your, your schedule like? Are you on the phone at 8 o'clock? Do you wake up, how early? What's your daily routine look like?
Yeah, for sure. So we're on the phone bright and early, 7:30 a.m. And we're calling expired withdrawals to be the first at them. So for my team, I'm in the office by 6:30. I have a briefing with my virtual assistant at 6:30. At 7 o'clock, I'm doing minor administration to get ready for the 7:30 push. 7:30 to 8, I do a minor sprint, and then 8 o'clock, I have 3 members of my team come in. So 7:30 to 8, me and another person on the team are prospecting. 8 o'clock, everybody comes in. That's 4 more agents. We get on the floor and role play 8 to 8:30. And then 8:30 to 10:30 is our first morning. We call them sprints, as our first morning sprint, where everybody's calling fresh prospects. And then after that sprint, everyone's expected to do follow-up or any leads that are in the system. We use Follow-Up Boss, and so that it's procuring. It's allowing us to see certain leads that are working around the website, and they're kind of looking around, sellers or buyers. And so the expectation on the team is until noon, you're prospecting, and then afternoon, you can do whatever you want. But that's a pretty general snapshot as far as how the day goes.
Sure. Okay. So you guys are on the phone bright and early all the way to 12 o'clock. Now, when you say from, 8 to 12, does that also include the follow-up time within that time range as well?
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's Monday through Thursday, because Friday, we do field trip Fridays. We go visit new home sites. We go preview homes. We get out there to like really see kind of what's going on. We do some networking. And so, and there's a whole, I'm coaching my team on a sphere of influence and making sure that there's a specific and intentional strategy around how we engage sphere of influence, how we're using social media to engage people. And so it's a pretty full strategy in regards to how we're, going out there and procuring leads.
Yeah, most definitely. I love it. So you and your team, like you guys have like a field trip day where you guys all go out together and, preview property and do stuff like that? Or is it just everyone?
Yeah. No, or door knock. It's not everyone, but it's not a mandatory, but pretty much everybody's down for it. So we're also knocking distressed properties, because we're in the game of providing full options as far as assigning or wholesaling or subject toing, or getting creative with seller financing to be an all answer for anyone. So depending on what somebody wants to do, we can provide a solution for that. And so we'll knock distressed neighborhoods specifically, looking for opportunities like that. And we weave that into our field trip Fridays to get out of the office and do something different.
I love it. That's great. Subject to wholesaling, that's kind of a new vertical that I'm incorporating into my business this year as well. I actually have my first subject to deal going on right now. So
Nice.
yeah, I like that you bring that up. So how are you structured? You mentioned that you have like a virtual assistant. Do you have an in-house assistant, or what's your help look like? Because I'm sure
Yeah.
you need a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure. So I do have a full-time assistant and a virtual assistant. And so and a transaction coordinator. So we're not the team really last year's business was still all me. I had a buyer's agent, but I was like pushing off and giving him overflow, and he was helping me prospect some non-owner occupieds. So all I really needed at that time was a virtual assistant. Now I have 4 more agents that I hired on. And so I had a lot more I had a lot more administrative duties, and so I had to bring somebody else in to make sure that I could handle everything, because it's when you get to that point, it's a full-on operation. You're running a full business. You need leverage.
Yeah, most definitely. What does your administrative or your virtual, what does that role look like? Do they help what kind of things do they do as opposed to your in-house assistant?
Yeah, so it's a lot of maneuvering of data. So we're constantly looking at what type of data we can bring in there. We call it cleansing the data and then moving the data, as far as are there phone numbers versus emails? Where do they go into the lists, into Follow-Up Boss, based off of how we're going to engage them via phone or an action plan. He's monitoring my social media. He's doing video editing. He's doing some form of email cleansing, where he's going in and getting rid of some garbage and some of the minor details that he can get in there and put his hands on for that. And to some extent, and probably within a year, I'll need another VA because I need someone who is just a CRM monitor, like a hall monitor for the CRM. So somebody who's their job specifically and only is to monitor the CRM, to cleanse it, to maintain it, to hold some level of accountability around it, because we're pretty quickly going in that direction.
Sure. When you say cleansing, can you expand on that a little bit more?
So when I previously mentioned cleansing the data, it was because we use several platforms to resource data. And once we resource that data, some of that data needs to be skip traced. And so they're skip tracing it. And then the data that doesn't have any data, we need to get rid of it. And then filtering that data, mapping that data into Follow-Up Boss. There's a process there to make sure it happens cleanly. But then once the data is in Follow-Up Boss, then sometimes there's dirty data there, right? Like people who should be in trash, people that don't have no next task dues, and everybody should have a next task due. Does certain groups all have a action plan, and then really just being the hall monitor on the data within Follow-Up Boss to make sure that that we're doing all this work, like this heavy duty prospecting, and we're putting all this data into a system, and to let that go unchecked in regards to it being up to date and proper in regards to how it should be in there would just be such a severe waste. And by the way, when I was a team leader at KW for 4 years here in Austin, my job was to coach the mega agents. So I had a productivity coach who was coaching all of the newer agents, and then my job was to coach the mega agents. And the number one problem I saw with mega agents, people that were doing 50 plus transactions a year, was that they didn't have control of their CRMs. It was out of control. And so that's a little thing that can turn into a big thing, and you got to pay attention to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. Do you pair Follow Up Boss with Ylopo, or is it just what systems do you use to make the outbound prospecting? Of course, you use Follow Up Boss as your CRM. What other kind of systems do you use?
Yeah, I do use I use Redex for the expired withdrawn data. I've used all the platforms, Landvoice, Vulcan 7, Espresso Age. I mean, I've literally used probably almost anything you can think of, because as a team leader, I was integrated with coaching people that were using all different types of platforms. So I got familiar with them all. But for me, Redex for the expired withdrawn data, I use, we were using Mojo, but we've since moved down Mojo on the scale as far as how we use it. And then now we're just using Follow Up Boss for the dialer, even though it's only a single dialer. But we can do a lot more with it as far as making sure that we more cleansing of data. With the triple dialer, you can skip over data that you don't know is bad data. And so you may have a lot of bad data in there if you're using the triple dialer, versus us being able to go through single dialing and really making sure that we get rid of all the bad data. And at the same time, you can't do this in Mojo, is we're texting expired withdrawns. We're putting them on email plans. All of the calls are recorded, and they're super easily accessible. So for me to be able to coach somebody and go, okay, hey, let's listen to that call again real quick. It's right there in the profile. We can click on it and listen to it. And it's just a little bit more efficient. Even though we're not triple dialing, it is a lot more efficient on making sure that we have clean data.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I love that perspective. For me, it's like, I like to keep my CRM like only as follow-up, but what you're saying makes total sense as far as, making sure the data is clean and being able to text the expireds. I think that's, a gold right there.
Yeah, I think we do use Ylopo. We use their AI. We use HomeBot integrated with Ylopo, and I love it. By the way, I was with Brivity for a long time, and HomeBot is just awesome. And Ylopo's Ylopo's platform it's legit, and you pay a little bit more, but you get what you pay for. And I found it to be very, very effective in how quickly people were engaging the market reports and how they were responding to AI. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, you pay a little bit more, but you make a little bit more too.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, awesome. So 2022 was your first full year you can call back in action. Is that right?
Second full year. 2021 was my first full year. 2022 was my second full year back in.
Gotcha. So your first full year back in action, you said that was 15 million, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. How many, what number of units or houses, how does that, correlate?
Yeah, for 15 million, I did 25 transactions for 2021. I think that's what it was.
Great. What about 2022?
A little over 30. It was 34 transactions.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're in 2023, everyone's full steam ahead. Everyone's ready to crush it. What are your goals? What are your plans?
Yeah. So this year it's 190 transactions, which is a stretch.
But is that on the team, or
the
is
team.
that
okay? That's everybody on the team. So remember, I have 5 agents now, including me, and 2 of them are experienced and 2 of them are not. So I brought on somebody, I brought on 2 listing agents and and then I have a buyer's agent, and then a newer, who's newer. And then I have a brand new buyer's agent. And so we did the numbers basically, and we did what's called an economic model, where based off of how much you want to make, how many appointments are needed, how many appointments need to be set, how many need to go on, how many contacts do you need to make. And we just reverse engineered everything. And it basically came down to, 190 was the stretch. 175 though it was within the wheelhouse of what we know we can do. Because I have two experienced agents, I'm not completely starting from scratch. And even though it's year 2 back in the business, this is my, I don't know what, 2008. So 12, 13, 14, 15th year in the business, right? So I got a little bit of experience as far as how to put together a model and an engine, because at the end of the day, it's about following your schedule and doing what you're supposed to be doing, because that's why people don't make money. They just don't do what they're supposed to do, which is the hard work, the boring work. And if you're willing to, a great coach told me once upon a time, the people who get paid the most money are the people who can master repetitious boredom.
I've heard that once or twice.
Yeah. And if you can master repetitious boredom, find a way to have fun with it, deal with it. Your perseverance factor can make you a lot of money. And when you start to open up yourself to, okay, how can I be more valuable? Seller financing, wholesaling, assignments. This game can make you a lot of money with just, nominal understanding and effort.
Yeah.
So
Most definitely. Yeah. And not only do you know like how to, run this machine, but I think your skills just propel everything.
it is everything, man. Because look, at the end of the day, we get paid by what we say. And we get paid by how often we say it. So the question is, who am I talking to? And how often am I really having those conversations? Now, if we get paid by what we say, then like a doctor is skilled with medicine, or an attorney with law, like we need to be skilled with our words and our ability to connect with other people, which is what Real Sales Talk is based on. And that's my platform for, and honestly, by the way, Real Sales Talk, I just do it for fun. Like I have several thousand followers on that only because I want to, and I don't have to, but I'm infatuated, Joel, with the power of communication, the ability to connect with other people, and what words can do to influence people in the right way under the right conditions for good, right? Because it's good for them, because they want to be there, and I'm going to connect with them at a high level with where they're at in a manner that's acceptable and digestible to them, right? Because different people communicate in different ways, and you're not going to be able to be you every time and connect with everyone. If you want to connect with people, you're going to have to switch up how you're communicating so that you can respect their way of thinking. The fact that they don't speak English fluidly, and you need to slow it down and communicate a little bit differently, or culturally, or in the United States, you saying you used to live in Kansas, right?
Right.
Yeah, Kansas communicates a whole hell of a lot differently than New York, right?
That
And you got to respect that. And how do I do that? When you understand that real estate is about relationships, people say that, right? Real estate's about relationships. And I know that the relationship is about the conversation. How good your relationships are rooted in how good are your conversations. Because bad relationships, well, then you don't have good conversations. You have bad conversations. So when I understand, if real estate's about relationships and the relationship is the conversation, and I know that, okay, I'm going to stay in touch with people. Okay. I set up a system to stay in touch with people, but I'm going to really understand, like, how do I connect with people at a higher level? Then Joel, your whole game changes, because it's not about if you can make money. It's about how much money do you want to make?
How much do you want, right?
How much you want? Like,
that's if you guys are watching this, rewind that and listen to that again, because that was some golden nuggets for you. Yeah, man, amazing. I appreciate you coming on. What do you think is going to happen in 2023? Of course, there's a lot of turbulence going on in the marketplace right now. I'm not sure what you're seeing. Obviously, you're on the ground. What are your predictions?
Yeah, I mean, everything's different. Everywhere is different. I'm in Austin, Texas, and that's a little bit different than Las Vegas, Nevada. So, in Austin, here's, regardless what I'm going to say, here's the thing: know your numbers. Because when you can speak, when you can have conversation intelligently, especially with non-owner occupieds, absentee homeowners, then you can very quickly earn trust with them, right? Because they want to know what's going on and they want to be led. By the way, plenty of sheep, not that many shepherds. You with me? Right. So I need to be a shepherd in what I know and what I'm willing, what I'm able to communicate, and knowing your numbers allows you to have powerful conversations and create validity, credibility quickly. Right. So know your numbers, because in Austin, since May, we've lost 20%. Approximately. There's a couple different counties that incorporate Austin, but we've lost approximately 20%. October to November, we lost 4%. December was weird because activity actually upticked. I think it was interest rates, maybe, is my theory, and people were trying to lock stuff in and get those interest rates that dipped below 6 when they were over 7. And so I really believe, Joel, that January, February I think February really is going to be a telltale sign of what happens for the rest of the year. And I just don't know. So look, if I could borrow your crystal ball, I'd greatly appreciate it, because before I'm like, look, Austin is going to lose another 5 to 10%. I still believe that. I still believe from December and January, we're going to lose probably 5 to 10%. Now, what's going to happen in the spring? Will interest rates go down? There's lenders talking about that. Will they go up? I mean,
Who knows?
Dad, dude, we don't know. Like, we don't know for sure, but we do know what we know right now, which is, look, if you're thinking about it, then let's have an honest conversation based off of where you're at, based off of where the market's at, what's happened with the market. And in all likelihood, here's what we know too. We've lost 20%. We're probably going to lose another 10%. Let's call it 5%. We lose 25% in Austin, right? If that's it, it could be more, but let's say that's it, 25%. Are we going to make up 25% in 2023? No way. Are we going to make it up by 2024, 25%? Dude, doubt it. Highly doubt it. Because people are going, well, maybe I should wait till spring. Not if you want to save money. Maybe I should wait till next year. Well, not if you don't have to, because if we've lost 25%, we're not all of a sudden going to magically make up 25% in 6 months. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So I got to be able to have these real conversations with people as far as like, okay, what's really going on? And Joel, I don't need a lot of information. I need a little bit to be able to communicate and go, hey, here's what's really going on. How does that fit with what's going on with you? And then people can make informed decisions, because even if I don't get their business now, well, they know, look, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm putting them first. And that's going to earn me a whole hell of a lot more than just trying to pop off a one-off and, get somebody for a sale.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. You're a new realtor. You're starting over. What advice would you give to somebody that is new in the business?
Talk to as many people as you possibly can.
There you go. If you guys didn't hear it, pick up the phone, smile and dial, go knock some doors.
Look, I've been around this game for a bit, and I get it. When I started, it was 2008. The world was different. The internet was different. Social media was different. Look, you can get business dancing on TikTok. Is that duplicatable? Can I, how many dances do I need to do to get to an appointment? I don't know, but I do know this. If you want to run a business, then you need to create duplicatable systems and processes. If you want to run a business, if you want to be friends with everybody and do 1 to 2 deals a month, Joel, there's a lot of people doing 1 to 2 deals a month who are making a living and making more than their parents and making more than anybody in their family has ever made and having a great life. Look, good on you. God bless you. Fine. But you're not really running a business. And if you want to run a business and you want legacy and you want you want to be intentional about changing your life, then you're going to have to do a whole hell of a lot more than, cool videos on Insta. That's good stuff. It's good stuff and you can make money doing it. But do you want to be a buyer's agent forever? Because that's what that road is. Right. You're not going to become a powerful listing agent by Instagram and TikTok. You look, there's a guy online. He did $60 million his first year in Austin. And all he did was YouTube videos. Listen, dude, that was awesome. Good for him. But I'm telling you right now, in year 2, that guy was already trying to figure out how to not do that. He was already trying to figure it out by, joining a brokerage where, he could recruit other people, by doing these training videos and coach. Dude, if it was so successful and it was so good, why don't you keep doing that? Because it's not sustainable and it's not duplicatable. Okay, so your question was, if you're a new agent, what do you do? That stuff is good. Connect with your sphere, do social media posts, do cool property tours. Awesome. Okay, good stuff. You should do that. But if you want a real business, you need to get on the phone and talk to people. You need to call your sphere of influence. You need to go out and grow your sphere faster. So if you want to get to 3 to 5 deals a month in less than 3 years, less than 5 years, come on, this, man. There's people who've been in business 15 years and they're still not doing more than 2 deals a month. Why? Because they're not willing to get on the phone and talk to people. Period. That's it. And it sucks and it's not fun and it's boring. But guess what? Getting paid $1 million a year, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I can make more than your doctor or attorney just by talking to people over the phone, then you got to check yourself. And that's why I think people get they get stuck in there. Tony Robbins says you went to recently, right? Was it recently, right?
Not too long ago, a couple months ago.
Was that UPW?
It was a really powerful experience.
Yeah. Get out of your head or you're dead. Right? He says, get out of your head or you're dead, which is you're thinking about what people think about you. You're thinking about your activity and how you're perceived. All this garbage around what you think people think. Complete garbage versus just go, who do I believe I am when I'm reaching out to people? I'm a powerful communicator. My service changes lives. People need my help. These foundational cornerstones of identity that are powerful and versus this selfish, inward, small-minded thinking of I don't want people to think I'm salesy. I don't want to beg or bug for business. Good. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, man. Everything you said was so powerful. And I think you're doing the real estate community a great service by just being out there. Before we wrap up, man, anything else you want to add? I know you got a YouTube channel, Real Sales Talk. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. Any final words for us, Coach Pauly C?
That's it, man. I mean, Real Sales Talk is about the power of communication. I only do it for a hobby. I don't make any money off of it. Zero. That will change soon one day when I I have a playbook, and you can email me therealsalestalk@gmail.com and I'll send you a free copy of my playbook, which is 108 pages of the skills, strategies, and mindset that got me to 129 transactions in year 4. And there's lots of scripts in there. There's lots of strategies. There's a lot about mindset. There's a lot about numbers, and I don't charge anything for that right now, but that book is going to get published, and then I will. And one day I will format all the Real Sales Talk stuff, because right now I'm focused on building my team. So Real Sales Talk YouTube community is about giving back, and it's about skills, and it's about mindset for you to be a powerful communicator, regardless of the type of prospecting you do. Because one of the things that I learned early on in my coaching, when I coach, and I was coaching for quite some time, is that there's lots of different ways to do business, and there's not one given way that you have to do it, but there is one common denominator to success. You must talk to people. I don't care if you get internet leads or open house leads or you're cold calling, you have to talk to people. That's the common denominator. So how good you communicate, how much people like what you're saying and don't think you're weird, Because when you get weird and they get weird, two weirdos don't equal an appointment. Okay. So get to Real Sales Talk and check out what's going on there. Everything's absolutely free. And of course, any needs for buyers, sellers, or investors in Austin, Texas, my team is the Vision Realty Group in Austin, Texas. And you can reach out to me, Pauly Campanaro, Austin, Texas, Vision Realty Group in Austin, Texas.
Brother, appreciate you coming on here, and look forward to connecting a little bit later on then.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Keep spreading the word.
Appreciate it, brother. You have a great day.
All right, take care, man.